Welcome to 12 Volt Tricks, where we show you the real life and times inside of a car audio installation bay. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notification bells to get notified of future content. If you like this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up. I super appreciate it. All right, let's jump right into Project Nissan Frontier.
Project 2018 Nissan Frontier. In for a remote car starter. We always check for any warning lights that might be on the dash. Make sure the airbag light goes out, sure does. We also want to check if this vehicle has automatic headlights, and it does, and yes, the client does use them, so we need to deal with that. We also need to check for factory security. And of course, this is just content security, so we can check this super easy. With the door open, hit lock, close the door. Security light comes on solid for 30 seconds and then starts flashing. Then we know this vehicle has factory security. So it's just something else that we need to be aware of when we're prepping our car starter, so that we don't trigger the security system when we remote start the vehicle. And this is the remote starter that we're putting into this vehicle. It's the IdataStart HC3452. Comes with two LED two-way remotes. Very fast system, as I'll show you guys once it's all finished. It's a nice system. We actually use this quite often. So before we get started prepping the vehicle, we need to turn all of this into all of this. And then of course we turn all of that mess into this neatly built harness that's all ready to go into the vehicle. So this is what the dash looks like after everything's been uncovered. We've got the ignition harness, bottom left-hand corner there. That's the ignition harness. Yes, it is in the driver's kick panel. Here's our NATS connector where we do our security connections. And then over at the back there, that's the main BCM connector where we get keyless entry, CAN high and low, auto lights shut off. And then somewhere in here, up here, we will get park lights and brake, which I haven't done yet. So I'll do that first, and then I'll show you what this looks like after everything's installed. So like I said, here's the trailer brake connector, and there's park lights and ground tied in there, all clean and neat, and I'll clean up that harness. And there you go. That's what a typical harness would look like after we were tied into it and finished with it. I just tied this one up next to it so that it's not flopping around. And now we'll get started on the BCM connector. Now that we're grounded and safe, it's okay to make CAN connections. So I just wanted to bring your attention back to the driver's kick panel. Like I said at the beginning here, this is actually the ignition harness. This is essentially a harness that comes directly from the back of the key cylinder. If you're an installer that goes strictly by what the documents and manuals tell you, they'll probably tell you to go here. That's the actual harness coming out the back of the key cylinder. And if anybody has tried to get up there and work with that harness at all, you know that it's almost impossible. There's no length and very little room up there to work with, which is why I do all my ignition harness connections down here, aside from second start, obviously, because once you get through here, you'll realize that there's no second start wire and you have to go to the main ignition harness for that. But the bulk of your wiring is done here. I just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, so this is everything all finished and secured. So all of our harnesses, I don't know if you'll be able to see it because it's a bunch of black tape, but all of our harnesses are secured and safe out away from any moving parts. Here's our control module right there, secure, it's not going anywhere. And yeah, so all that we have left now is programming and testing, and I'll show you guys the finished product once we're done. All right, so this job is complete and reassembled. Everything's programmed. And we're just gonna go through a couple of real quick tests. So you'll remember at the beginning of the video, I checked for factory security. And of course, we wanna see that that is still functional. So if we hit lock, you'll see the red security indicator up on the dash come on solid, and that stays on for about 30 seconds or so. And then it goes back to regular flashing, indicating that the factory security or the factory content security has been armed. And of course, we want to make sure that when we unlock, that that system is disabled or disarmed. And of course it is, so that's all good. And of course we also want to check remote start. So let's make sure that everything is functioning with remote start. And everything looks good there. So we have HVAC controls, we don't have radio, that's okay though, we don't need radio for remote start. And as I showed, again, another thing at the beginning of the video was the automatic headlights. So the headlights automatically come on anytime the vehicle is remote started. So we want to make sure that when we shut this off, that the headlights shut off too. And they do, so there's no worry about this customer's vehicle killing the battery if the remote starter times out or whatever. So there we go, another happy customer rolling down the road.